Good evening, and I'm just going to jump right into it because I don't want you to have to watch a long video. But basically, we're going to add mixed numbers today. Now, you have added numbers that have common denominators, those are fractions. You've added fractions that have unlike denominators, and now we're adding the element of a mixed number. So just to review, if I have a number that looks like this, with a whole number and a fraction, this is what we call a mixed number because it has a whole number. We talked about this before, whole number, and then what's left over. Okay, so this is a fraction, what's left over of our pie pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to be taking two mixed numbers and we are going to add them together. So say for instance I have 2 2/3, and maybe it's I'm mixing a recipe or something, and I want to add something to it. So maybe I have 2 2/3 cup flour, and I want to add 1 1/2 cup of sugar. Now I need to know how much does that all add up to. Well, the first thing I notice is that they're mixed numbers, and you can see that here. This is a mixed number, and this is a mixed number. The other thing I notice is something about their denominators. They're not the same. So we're going to have to take care of that. And just with adding like regular numbers, if you were to add 1, 2, 3 plus 4, 5, 6, you would start over here on the right and add all the way going left, because if you had anything that needed to be carried over, you need to make sure that you do that. If you start on this side and go that way, you might get messed up. Same thing here. We are going to start on the right, and on the right are our fractions. And our fractions are, and let's do the math over here, 2 thirds plus 1 half. I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to fill in the butterfly. Alright, I went ahead and drew the butterfly, but let's just review. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 down here is 6. And we bring up our plus sign so we know that we're adding. So if we were to add across, we'd get 7 over 6. If you do it the traditional method, it would look like this. Okay, so I've done the traditional method right here. So if you notice, both result in the same thing, 7 over 6 and 7 over 6. Alright, so that means when we do the 2 thirds plus 1 half on the right, we end up with 7 over 6. And then if you were to add the whole numbers on the left, we would get 3 and 7 over 6. Automatically, bells should be going off right now because we know that this number right here is really weird, and we can't have it because it's an improper fraction. So we need to take care of that next. I'm going to pause or do some erasing. As I said, this is improper, so what we have to do is we have to just kind of go over to the side and do our work over here. Now, we have learned two different ways to do an improper fraction. You could do the backflip, which is the cheater. 7, remember, goes in the house because if it's raining on these numbers over here, 7 is getting wet. How many times will 7 go into 6? Once. You want to make that nice and big because that's your whole number. It's going to go in once, leaving us with 1 left over. So your leftovers are your fraction, which we've talked about before. Another way you could do it is you could start off with 7. You want to pull out 6, okay? Because that's how many holes you're going to pull out. That's like pulling out 1 hole. That's where this comes from. Leaves us with just 1 shaded area left. That goes here over the size of our pie pieces, which is a 1/6. So anyway, either way you choose, you still get 1 and 1/6. So this is no longer 7/6. It's 1 and 1/6. Now, you're going to add it to the 3 that is already right here. We are going to move the 3 over and we're going to add the 1 and 1/6. Now you notice here, nothing fancy. All you have to do is just add the whole numbers. We get 4 and 1/6 is the answer to adding 2 2/3 cup flour to 1 1/2 cup sugar. We would get 4 1/6 cups of dry ingredients if you were to add those two things together. Alright, let me give you another example. Okay, our new problem is 14 1/9 plus 1 1/3. And automatically, we know that we're going to start over on the right with our fractions over here. And so let's write them over here. 1 1/9 plus 1/3. All right, I'm going to pause to draw in everything. You can do this while you're waiting. Okay, I've done it both ways here. Let me change my color marker here. The first way, of course, is the butterfly way. When you do your cross multiplying and then adding across, you got 12 over 27. Watch out here. One is even and one is odd, but you have to watch out for stinky 3. You always have to try that one. I tried it, and guess what I got? I got a new fraction, a renamed fraction of 4/9. If you do the traditional method, which is right here, you see that we get the same answer of 4/9. So when you add the two fractions on the right, your final result is 4/9. All right, now we're going to simply add the whole numbers on the left-hand side, which gives me 15 and 4/9. What's cool about this one is if you'll notice here, we don't have to take care of this fraction because it is a fraction. It's not improper. So therefore, 14 and 1/9 plus 1 and 1/3 is going to equal 15 and 4/9. And you're done. That's pretty much how this lesson is. So I'm going to do one more quick example where we have to change our improper fraction. Okay, try to make it a little bit more complicated. If you want to try it on your own, stop the tape now and try to solve it and see if we end up with the same answers. All right, so again, step 1, I'm going to start on the right with my fractions, just as I would if I were adding any other numbers. So let's start over here. Our fractions are 3/4, and we are adding it to 3/5. Okay, I'm going to pause and fill everything in. Okay, notice what I did for you. I did the butterfly method right here, and I did the traditional method right here. We result in the same fraction, and that's not a fraction, it's improper fraction. So let's go ahead and write that fraction part, or what we got there, as our sum. Okay, now let's go ahead and add our whole numbers down. We also start over here, and this is going to be 9. 7 plus 2 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. But notice here we have that weird improper fraction that we have to take care of. So, pausing. Okay, we're going to convert our improper fraction up here of 27/20. Remember, if it's raining, who's getting wet? 27 is getting wet. So 27 is the one that's going to run to the house. So on our back flip, you put 27 inside, 20 goes on the outside. How many times will 20 go into 27? It's only going to go in once. Make it nice and big. That's your big whole number. And if you finish out the math, you get 7 left over. We're done. So we take our remainder and we put it over what we started out with, which is the divisor or the denominator. Notice the D's there, of 20. If you do the subtraction method, you start out with 27. Take out 20. That gives you a full whole. It's our big whole number. Subtract, and then the 7 goes over here over the original denominator of 20. Okay? So this now is no longer here. It is now 1 7/20 that we are going to add to our 39 that was already there. When you add 39 and 1, that's nice and easy. That's 40. Bring down your fraction. So the answer to 22 3/4 plus 17 3/5 results in 40 7/20. And that is it. Take notes and make sure you answer the questions. Get credit for homework. Good night.